Hello, I hope you're well. Today, I want to go into a bit more detail around what I talked about last week when I looked at discrimination towards disabled people in that whole area. Looking specifically at a case that I was part of, I will look at that in a bit more detail. Now, this situation is quite sensitive, and a number of hearing people aren't aware of it, as well as some interpreters. Some people think these behaviors are okay. So, say you had a deaf person in a room, alongside, say, two interpreters, and the two interpreters were just having a conversation in speech. That would be automatic discrimination towards a deaf person. They can't make any excuses around that behavior. If they're talking, knowing that a deaf person is there with them, that is being excluded, that's discrimination. They should sign, which would allow the deaf person to understand what's being said because they're in the same room. But if those two interpreters said, oh, we want to have a private conversation, well, they should go to another place and have that conversation, which would be much fairer. The reason I'm talking about this, say if I was deaf, well, as a deaf person, if I'm having a conversation with another deaf person, a hearing person in a room would be left out. So there's real unfairness there. I started to think about this a lot more after I had a conversation with a barrister and around discrimination. I started to think, is this just okay that this happens? And he's absolutely not. This happens across the board and it's not right. And he was saying, surely we know that this happens in employment. And it happens in everyday life. And if deaf people knew that this was wrong, many more deaf people would be suing against others who have discriminated against them. And I just thought, is this something I've just got to be flexible on? That it's just a fact of life in the real world that this is how people are treated. But actually, this is about equality. This is an issue around human rights. And I learned a lot from that. There was another case that I was part of. It was a where I was a CEO in an organization, and the chair of that particular company, my interpreter went off to have lunch. He came in and he was looking around the room and he said, oh, where's the signer? And I said, oh, they've gone off for lunch because obviously they've got a right to go and have lunch. I said, it's okay, come in, we can write things down and communicate that way. This person's disabled, by the way. And I thought we could just write things down. We could just ease that level of conversation just through the written form. And so I wrote something down. He looked at it and he just wrote down one word. I think he put something like yes or no or wait, something like that. He wouldn't engage with me. And I thought, why? What is that about? And he said, oh, no worries. And he left the room. So I followed him. And I said to him, look, just be patient. He said, no, wait for the signer to come. That's what I raised in my dispute against him. That this is discrimination. This is automatic discrimination. And I think that really impacted me when I had that conversation with the barrister and was able to understand that more. Because I don't know if I just haven't considered it because I've grown up with it. It's just been my existence. It's just what I've experienced. And now I've woken up to the fact that no, this is not acceptable. I need to be treated fairly. People should write things down. They should gesture. They should do whatever it takes to show willing to be able to communicate with me because actually you can get around a lot of these things in different ways. You can build up those skills. And so this case actually went through and I won. And the chair actually, held his hands up and wouldn't really engage in the process. But I just thought all it would have taken is a conversation, just to be positive. So I'm hoping that's giving you some insights there to help your thinking around these things. If you're around deaf people, please treat them fairly. Just give them access to information, to communication fully. That's fair. That's fairness for everyone then, isn't it? Okay, so thank you for watching. Farewell.